It's lovely Saturday afternoon. This is King Aaron the Great coming at y'all with another video. And I want to take y'all back to 1997 for a minute, where the unthinkable happened. Mr. Hip Hop, Mr. Hip Hop Institute, Mr. Die for the Culture, KRS-One, collab with Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy at that time was considered the antichrist of hip hop because of the way that he changed the tradition up. From the pop sampling, from the shameless sample jacking, from having ghost writers. He literally changed the culture from it being about hip hop being representing the struggle, representing fighting back, representing police against police brutality, representing against oppression, to it becoming one big champagne party. And that's what Puff brought to 97. You look at all those records that came from 97, everybody was on it. And see, Puffy, I think he got a pass for that because Big had died, and therefore everybody they felt they couldn't say anything about them. And he coined the term player hater. So anybody that said something bad about Puffy, said something bad about Mace, Bad Boy, they was a hater, and nobody wanted that. That underground versus mainstream hip hop war was something serious back then. And even though a lot of people want to retell the story, Bad Boy wasn't really held to high regard in New York City like that. Wu-Tang was going at it with him. J. Rue the Damager was going at it with him. The Boot Camp Clique was going at it with him. So that whole underground versus hip hop thing was crazy. But then you had KRS-One, the man that's supposed to be front line and center for the culture, doing a collabo for Step Into the World with Puff Daddy, which was a remix, and the remix was awful. And I remember the backlash that KRS used to get for that. Oh, you sold out. Hip hop is dead. KRS was only out for himself. Even look at the YouTube comments if you could. Now, I don't know if they're still there or not right now, but it was a reflection of the times. Because nobody could be seated next to Puff Daddy. If you did a song with Puff Daddy, you was a sellout. If you did a song with Mace, you was a sellout. If you even stood next to Puffy and did a picture with him, if you wore Sean John, you was considered a sellout. The underground really hated Bad Boy. They really hated Bad Boy. So for KRS to do that, that made a lot of his base turn against him at the time. That Step Into the World single was already commercial as it is. Even though at that time it would be considered very commercial considering the stuff that he was putting out before then. But I think also it was a situation where in hip hop everybody wanted to have fun for once because Big had died, Pac had died, Easy had died. You had the East Coast versus West Coast going on. You had a whole lot of, street ties and street wars going on. So everybody, I guess, wanted to lay back for a little bit and have fun. Nothing wrong with that. But see, even with the 90s, if you really look at how radio changed, you started wondering when you started hearing the same records playing time and time and time again. It started in the mid 90s when Bill Clinton passed the Telecommunication Act. So that's why you will probably hear Bad Boy all day long. I hated More Money, More Problems with a passion. I hate that record even today. So for KRS-One to do that, man, he caught the backlash like crazy. And the song wasn't even that great. He didn't even really need Puffy to do a remix. But I guess he needed clout. I guess he needed that extra push. It could be a label thing, because the labels, they used to force a lot of artists to collab with certain people to get a check or, for exposure. But that's a time in history that happened in 1997. KRS-One did duet with Puff Daddy. A lot of people don't know about that. He caught a lot of backlash for it, and I wanted to give people an insight on what was happening in 1997 at the time between the underground versus hip hop war, which is still probably going a little bit today, but not as much. But 1997, it was no joke. So subscribe and hit the like button. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to Off the Cuff Radio. Tune in tomorrow night. We got Crazy from the No Limit family in the building. 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific, 8 Central Time. Off the Cuff Radio. Let's get it.